Hi everyone, this is Anthony Rees from Chef, and today we're going to talk about specific Chef InSpec compliance profiles that you can create in line with your own requirements or those of regulatory bodies. And the regulatory body that we're going to use as an example today is the Australian Government Information Security Manual, or ISM, as it's often referred to. Now, if you're not familiar with Chef InSpec, then I suggest you go and watch one of my other videos, which covers off doing continuous compliance using Chef InSpec and how that works. So once you've gone and watched that, now you can have a look at some specific examples and examples that you might want to create for your own organization. So the ISM, or the Australian Government Information Security Manual, is actually published by the Australian Government, and it is a set of recommendations. It's an industry standard for what they recommend, and it's published as a set of XML. Now, in order for you to be able to turn that into a set of code, what I've done is I've created an example, and the example that we're going to have a look at today is a public-facing example of the Australian Government ISM. And effectively what we've done is we've turned those controls that have been recommended in XML format, and we've taken them and we've turned them into a set of mapping references. So what I've done is I've gone through some of the ISM and I've taken their recommendations and I've mapped them back to existing controls. Now, the example that we're using today is based on a Windows 2016 machine. And so what I've done is I've taken the ISM, and in this particular case, it's the ISM standard of OSH-1409. And I've mapped that operating system configuration item from the ISM back to the Center for Internet Security InSpec profile, which has already been created and curated by Chef. And I've mapped that back, and we're using the CIS benchmark 2.3.1.1 level 1 to be able to test that particular OSH 1409 ISM pattern. And what that allows us to do is to be able to create a mapping. So what we're doing is we're using global industry best practices such as CIS or DISA-STIG, and we can map those back to the ISM. So there's really not a lot of programming that's required. What is required is to read the ISM, understand what the control is asking us to do, map it to an existing control that's already being run, created, and curated by Chef, and then we can execute it against the platform and see the results. So how does it look in Chef Automate? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. So in Chef Automate, what we can see in the dashboard is that I've already uploaded the Australian Government ISM example pattern that I've created. And as you can see that it has, and it is returning a number of results here. And we're able to run that against, this particular version can be run against Windows 2016 machines, but there's no reason why the pattern couldn't be used and created to run against a range of different operating systems, including Linux, and of course, against cloud-based platforms and APIs as well, or Docker-based containers. Now, when we go and run the ISM, effectively, here's the example. I've run it against a Windows 2016 machine, and you'll see that we've got passes and fails. Now, each one of these particular checks is mapping back to the ISM standards. So this is the ISM standards for TLS or Transport Layer Security. This is the soft firewall TLS settings, which is the 1416 check. And this particular one's failed. If we go and check exactly why, we're expecting a particular registry setting. The enable firewall setting should be configured on this particular machine. It's not, so it's failed. And I can even go and check the source code. Now, the source code, you might remember, was only a set of mappings. But in the background, InSpec has gone and resolved that mapping back to the original Center for Internet Security check that we're using for the ISM, and has mapped the actual code for it. So it should have this Windows machine should have the enable firewall turned on, and it also should have a registry setting of 1 for that to enable it. And we're checking both of these in this particular example. So what you can do, regardless of whether it's an ISM pattern that you're looking to be able to create for the Australian government, or whether it's the Monetary Authority of Singapore as another example, or the Australian Signals Directory, which is being used by telcos within the APAC region. All of them are really just examples, and you can take the recommendations from that governing body, and you can map it back to existing profiles. And Chef has more than 400 of them out of the box. And you can use it for a range of different platforms. This particular environment I have here has 399 available, all the way from AIX-based systems to Apple-based devices, all of the CentOS, Linux, Ubuntu, all of the Windows distributions, like I said, as well as containers and also your cloud platforms as well. So it really is pretty simple. It's really just a mapping-based exercise to get your custom profiles working. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, if you need more details on InSpec, watch some other of my videos to get more details. Thanks for your time.